A very good day to you all. My name is Lovely Mushunji, and I'll be presenting my thesis, which is on the evaluation of the potential of wattle, also scientifically known as Acacia delbata and Acacia mentai, as livestock feed for sheep that were grazing on communal rangelands, under the supervision of Prof. Mapie, Dr. Marufu, and Dr. Chukwana. In South Africa, there's approximately 22 million sheep, where 40% are reared in the Eastern Cape province of South Africa. However, this sector is facing challenges, which includes, firstly, disease and parasites. This has been highly attributed to the unavailability or limited access to veterinary services by these communal farmers. Another issue that has been identified by these communal farmers is the issue of low forage quality, that is especially during the dry season, where the pasture is characterized by high fiber and low crude protein. The spread of wattle is another challenge being faced by these communal farmers as it restricts animals to graze freely within the rangelands. Studies have shown that these wattle leaves have a high fiber content. This can be moderated through co-feeding with other ingredients such as hay and maize stover, and also include these wattle leaves at a lower inclusion level. Other studies have also indicated that these wattle leaves have a high condensed tannin level. And in high concentration, the condensed tannin have been reported to reduce the feed intake due to the astringent taste that these condensed tannins confer when they bind to the salivary proteins. However, this can also be moderated through co-feeding and drying the leaves before feeding them to the livestock. This wattle leaves has also been reported to have a high crude protein, which is one of the limited nutrients, especially during the dry season. And also, in moderate levels, the condensed tannin have the ability to bind to the cuticle of the larva and cause the death of the parasites, therefore controlling parasites. They also bind to the condensed tannin, they also bind to the proteins and reduce ruminal degradation of these proteins and increasing the flow of the proteins to the small intestines for absorption. The acacia species have a potential to improve the sheep productions through improving the growth rate and also controlling parasites. Yet, there is still limited evidence of their feeding value for ewes that are grazing on communal rangelands. So the aim of my study was to evaluate the nutritional and anthelmintic effects of these wattle leaves, when they are supplemented to sheep that are grazing on communal rangelands. So the first objective of my study was to determine the nutrient composition and the phytochemical profile of these wattle leaves during the dry season and during the wet season, and also to evaluate the potential of supplementing these acacia species to leaf meals based on growth performance and the control of parasites. For the feeding trial, the acacia was harvested from the communal rangelands, and they were sun-dried for approximately 4 days. And they were also co-fed with hay, so the hay was first ground so that it can have the same particle size as acacia for easy mixing. And they were formulated, and the diets were formulated using the Pearson square method, where 8% minimum maintenance requirement for crude protein was used. So using that formula, it means that 2 parts were coming from the leaf meal and 7 parts was coming from the hay. 4 diets were formulated using this formula. That was the Acacia mentai diet, Acacia delbata diet, the positive control diet, which had commercial protein supplement, and the negative control, which only had hay only. And 10 ewes were allocated per treatment, and the ewes were between 2 to 3 months old, and the feed was given to these animals from 2 to 8, and they were allowed to graze in the communal rangelands from 8 to 2. So the fecal grape was used to determine the fecal worm egg count, and the fermeture was used to determine if the animals were anemic or not, and the weight was used to determine the growth rate of these animals. And these These measurements were taken every fortnightly, and the daily feed intake was also determined. Table 1 is showing us the nutritional and the polyphenolic composition of our acacia species during the wet season and during the dry season. And we can observe that during the wet season, our acacia species had a high crude protein content and a lower condensed tannin content as compared to the dry season. This could be attributed to the way different species accumulate protein differently during growth, and also how different species respond differently to the changing seasons. The table 2 is showing the nutrient composition of the formulated diets and how the nutrient composition of the rangeland changed during the experimental period. Table 3 is showing us the effect of supplementation on growth performance of our ewes. And we can see that the ewes that were in the protein supplement diet had the highest dry matter intake as compared to the other diets. This could have been attributed to the lower crude protein and high NDF and polyphenolic contents of the former diets, as a combination of low crude protein and high NDF have been reported to negatively influence dry matter intake. We are also observing that the ewes that were in the protein supplement had a higher average daily gain as compared to the other diets. This could have been attributed to the observed high dry matter intake for this diet, as generally an increase in feed consumption leads to an increase in live weight. The observation that our experimental units across all treatments moved from the B2 Pharmacia chart, which is the non-anemic chart, going to the mildly anemic C3 Pharmacia chart, could have been attributed to the high prevalence of parasites during the spring and summer season. The lowest coccidia oocytes counts that were observed in the protein supplement diet as compared to the other diets could have been attributed to the superior nutritional profile and hence a strong immune system for the ewe lambs that were within the protein supplement diet. And also, the lack of effect of the acacia diet observed for the stronger fecal egg counts could be related to the low levels of condensed tannin in the diets, in which might also have been further diluted by rangeland grazing. In conclusion, acacia leaves that we harvested during the wet season had a better nutritional and polyphenolic composition as compared to the acacia leaves that we harvested during the dry season. Acacia leaf meals had no effect on the fecal egg count and the Pharmacia chart score in the experiment. So further research is advised on optimum inclusion levels of the acacia leaves. Lastly, I would like to acknowledge my supervisors for their assistance and contribution towards towards my thesis, and Dr. Marandre for his assistance during my feeding trials, and then the McLean community for welcoming me and also assisting me in any way possible, and then the Bioscience for the Future for funding this, and NRA for funding this project. Thank you.